Hey YouTube, how you doing this evening? This is Dollface here on Miss Bandwagon. Thanks for tuning into my channel. We have finally made it, the final ending of the All Souls Trilogy, the Book of Life. I am so glad to be over and done with that series. Honestly, it took up so much more time than it was actually worth, and to be quite frank, it left me really empty and very disappointed with too many loose ends. So we're just gonna jump right into this thing. And I got my tea, so you go get yours too, or a nice little snack. This is to prevent me from getting all excited because I'm gonna be all up in my feelings and I'm gonna try not to, but let's see how this goes. Okay, so I have 5 major concerns that really bothered me when reading this last book. If you have any more concerns, feel free to throw them in the comment section. We'll talk about it together. Concern 1 and 2 kind of blend into one another. The first one is, let's overthrow the government in the name of love. And which blends into the second one, that may not be in everyone's best interest. I'm sorry, but I'm on Team Baldwin. Just because you are in this big giant family that has all this influence and money and prestige and clout doesn't mean that you can just tell people what to do. Because this covenant that, yes, is like a big contract that restricts people's life, also protects people. The covenant is made to protect creatures. And yes, that one blip about no interspecies dating and mating, yes, I know it sucks, but it's worked for all these years. We'll get more into that later about it working technically, but for the most part, it's kept you safe. So Matthew and Diana are saying, let's overthrow the government because we're in love and Matthew's gonna be a daddy. And then Baldwin's like, maybe we don't do that? I'm sorry, but if I'm gonna be a vampire, especially one of the de Clermonts, maybe I don't wanna share my special vampire prestige. I am a black woman living in America. If I'm a vampire, that's what I've got going for me. I'm not letting that go. That's like the Rothschilds and the Walton family and the Rockefellers saying, maybe we should share our wealth with the commoners. That ain't happening. That's gonna be me. I'm not sharing. That's my inner Slytherin talking, saying, I'm not sharing, get your own, too bad, so sad. I'm sorry.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
And again, with concern number 2 about how exposing yourself to humans and letting them know all about you, it really can't be in everyone's best interest. I mean, remember what they did to Philip? He died because the Nazis got a hold of him. I mean, we did find out it was really Benjamin, but he took him to a Nazi camp and experimented on him. What makes you think that people won't try and capture vampires and try and pick them apart and experiment on them? If you ever watched the anime Bacano, you know, with the people who live forever because they drank that secret serum. You remember that little boy who got experimented on? Just because they can heal doesn't mean that they're entirely immortal. They still feel pain. Do you want that for people? So yeah, I just really think that's a really bad idea to make vampires be known. Not to mention, if I were a vampire and people knew that I was a vampire, I'd be terrified for my heart. I would think that someone was just trying to get with me because, you know, oh, I love you forever. And then I bite them and make them into a vampire. And it's just like, deuces, I only wanted you for my immortality. And it's like, hey, what? But it's like, you can't tell me you can't see that coming. So I just would rather, you know, we just keep it in the family, you know, the vampire family, and just let them do them. For witches, they were already prosecuted a long time ago. They know how that feels. Remember when people were like claiming people were witches and they were just doing normal things like being good at math? Yeah, do you really think that the witches want them back into their lives like that? If I'm a witch, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm sorry, I don't want anything to do with regular humans. Even though witches can, of course, breed with humans, I wouldn't want that back into my life. Even though I wasn't alive for that prosecution of witches, it's not like people in 2019 still aren't afraid of witchcraft. Yes, it's more widely celebrated and widely acceptable, but for the most part, because of religion, people are still really against witchcraft. So I'd rather you not bring attention to me just to, you know, for your silly little coup of this 1,000-year covenant that's been protecting me. Another thing is, again, more things that you have to teach the humans. I want to keep my special teachings and my magical herbs and all these wonderful spells into my family. You can't trust humans. I'm sorry, you cannot trust humans to do the right thing. They get an inch and they take a mile. Third is for the demons. Okay, again, back to religious zealots. Demons in any form of society are bad. You know, they're not always bad, but for the most part, they're bad. So if someone says, yeah, I'm your husband and I'm a demon, but you still love me, right? It's not gonna work out well for these demons. It's not like someone says, I'm an angel. You know, you can have a little leverage with angel because Lucifer's a fallen angel. There are bad angels and there are good ones, but demon is just usually, that's usually not a good sign. And you don't want them prosecuted for that either. So again, I just feel as though this whole thing with overthrowing the government and telling people to get in line to throw their whole lives away and their security is just really asking for too much. My third concern was scooting way back at the end of the book when Diana finally gets the Book of Life and she becomes the Book of Life. I'm like, that's pretty awesome. That's cool. I don't know how we're gonna pass this down so other people can read it, but we'll cross that bridge when we never get to it. So Diana gets the book. This long-awaited Ashmole 782 that we've been non-stop talking about, the thing that we went back in time for, the thing that people have killed for. We have the book, we've got it. Ask it everything. Where do demons come from? Who was the first vampire? Tell us what we want to know. Concern number 4 was the ending where they had to turn this into a rescue mission for Matthew. Why is it that Matthew has been bossing people around, telling people what to do, putting people's lives in danger, all for Diana, who really just started to get with the program in like the second half of the book? She kept having to remind herself, I am a witch and I need to stop acting like a human. If you're a witch, then act like it. We don't need these constant reminders to, like, you know, bring you back over to the witch side. If you're gonna be a witch, then start doing witch stuff. I need to take another sip of tea. I'm back. So I just don't really feel like Matthew should have been the one in rescue in the very end. You really realize that he, in essence, is just a man. He's nothing special, he's nothing extravagant, he's nothing worth drooling or praising over. He's just a man with money. If Matthew was just an ordinary dude, his possessiveness would not be seen as charming, his pack mentality would have been seen as alarming, he would have been terrifying. It really would have been a cause for domestic violence in a sense. He was possessive, he always had to know where she was, he was very careful about who was around her, he didn't like her doing certain things without his consent. Yeah, again, it's all cool to be a vampire until it's time to do some vampire stuff. And then you gotta get in line. So I just didn't like the fact that you brought him down as a normal man. Well, maybe it's just me that isn't like someone who presents themselves as reliable when in reality they're very weak. That's just me. Can we just talk about how lackluster that ending was with Benjamin? This ending scene reminded me of book 4 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That amazing scene in the graveyard where Harry and Voldemort are like linking wands and there's just sparks and it's just intense and there's this gusts of wind all over the place and it's a fight to the death. But then when we get to book 7 or movie 8, the ending is just so bleh. That's it? We've been tracking down Benjamin for days and weeks and months and he's been kidnapping children, multiple children, and raping witches, and you just killing people, and we just shot him with an arrow like Kikyo from Inuyasha? That's all we get!
Inuyasha!
My last 2 concerns kind of blend in with one another. The fact that Matthew and Diana's relationship and their marriage is just incredibly too perfect. They are the Meredith Grey and Derek Shepherd of this book. Like, if you watch Grey's Anatomy, you know what I'm talking about. Like, everything works out for them. Nothing goes wrong. As far as like their little unit and a little bubble in their family, their lives are perfect. I feel like Matthew was just putting Diana on this colossal pedestal. I know he's a vampire and that's what they do, but I'm sick of this trope, and you see it in anime sometimes, where this really basic broad will come around and it's just like, you're so different. I like you. I love you. Everyone must like you. Everyone must love you. And I'm just like, hold on. Hold on now. What can she do? Not a thing. What can she offer? Not a thing. So what are we doing for her? You're doing everything for her because I like her and you will respect her. You will throw your life on the line for her. And I'm just like, no, 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 no. No, 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 not this basic broad. Not this chick, no. I just feel like they were so rich for no good reason. Maybe I'm just being petty. Maybe I'm just being salty. But I just feel as though there was no reason to spend all this money on this basic broad. Darling, we have to go back to France. I forgot my toothbrush. No problem, baby. I got you. Really? Are you sure it won't be a problem? Anything you want, baby. We can stop in France for the toothbrush, Germany for the floss, and China for the mouthwash. I got Range Rovers lined up like lime scooters. Anything you want. I don't even know if I'm gonna read the 4th book. It's called Times Convert. It's about Phoebe's transition to becoming a vampire. I don't know if I want to read that. I'm not sure if it's canon to the other books or if it's like one of those optional spin-offs. Someone else read it and tell me what they think of it, because I don't really want to invest that kind of energy into a Deborah Harkness novel. I really feel bad about talking bad about an author's books because that put in a lot of work and research, and her heart and soul went into that. But I'm not gonna give her kudos for, you know, stringing us along for 3 books just for an abysmal ending, quite frankly. Sips tea. Yeah, that's my final review of The Book of Life, the ending in the All Souls Trilogy by Deborah Harkness. If you have a contrasting view, or maybe there are some things that I missed that you really want to talk about, put them in the comments below and we'll definitely discuss it. If you want to hear my really in-depth review, go to goodreads.com/dollface and we can get into it there as well. Also, if there's a book that you want me to review, put it in the comments below. I'll look at it. I'll get into it. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.